During this segment, we're going to discuss leadership and strategic thinking. Let's get into the slides. Today, we're going to explore the 4 primary principles of leadership and strategic thinking. What is strategic thinking? It's the ability to consider the complexities of decisions and actions, alignment with a decided outcome, and the ability to pivot in reaching that outcome. Or said differently, anticipating what is in front of and behind a condition and desired outcome. Here are some mistakes leaders make when it comes to thinking strategically. Assuming everyone understands the desired outcomes and goals. Assuming everyone desires the same outcomes and goals. Losing sight of the goals. Fixating on process over outcome. Focusing on the micro and ignoring the macro. Missing opportunities to leverage resources and talents. Mistaking practices for policies. Ignoring external changes in the community, and missing social cues. Here are the 4 primary principles of strategic thinking and leadership: past, present, policies/practices, and progress. Let's look at past. What do we know about the past regarding any situation? If we're looking to hire new people, if we have conflict on a team, if we're looking to figure out a new process or a new initiative, what do we know about the past regarding this situation? Do we have some comparisons? Can we benchmark? Very important to know as we move forward with thinking strategically to solve a problem. If we look at the present, what do we need right now? What are our current resources? What are our current needs? What are our current skill sets? What do we have in order to solve the problem? Policies/practices. What are the internal compliance considerations within this particular organization, this department, this group? Are there any barriers in considering policies and practices? Do we need more information? Do we need to involve other parties? Do we need additional approvals? We might not know. The questions will help us get to the answers. Progress. What are the goals? What will we measure? What is the time frame? What's the consequence of not reaching the goals? What's the likelihood of reaching the goals? Where are the easiest wins? What's expected of me? Do I fully understand as a leader, as a group, what's expected of us? Again, past, present, policies/practices, and progress is a framework to help you think strategically. 4 primary areas that you must consider before you proceed with any action. Let's look at an example of a mistake. Losing sight of the goal. A system of education is created to help young people grow to become thriving contributors within their community. Schools have limited resources, and teachers begin to look for ways to get the most tools and resources for their students. A corporation offers a grant for teachers of students with the highest grades on the test. Teachers begin competing, and some even cheat with grading to show the higher marks. Let's explore how the teachers and the system lost track of the goal. Considering the goal, what strategy could the teachers use to pursue any grant? You might look over this and think, well, the goal is highlighted in yellow, a system of education created to help young people become thriving adults within their community. That's the overall goal. Once the teachers decided to use techniques that push them into silos, that help them to focus only on the needs of the few, they were moving further and further away from the goal. They lost track of the goal. This is not strategic thinking. This is silo thinking. This is common for leaders. So if we use our framework to examine this case, the past, what do we know about the past regarding this situation? We might know how our students perform. We might know which students perform the best. Maybe we have some past experience with obtaining grants. In the present, what do we need right now? Maybe we need to coach our students. Maybe we need to rearrange our classrooms so that we can pull the students together who can get the highest grades for the grant for the school. Policies and practices. Is that allowed? Can we rearrange the students? What are the policies and considerations when it comes to this grant and when it comes to our students? Progress. How are we measuring our success? Are we competing against other schools? If so, what grades do we need to achieve in order to receive the grant? What are our overall goals for the use of the grant? The goal is to create a system of education to help young people grow to become thriving contributors within their community. That's the goal. Oftentimes in leadership, we lose sight of the goal. Let's go to a case study. Let's look at how we use the goal, for example, to hire people in the workplace. Here's what I want you to know before we go to our worksheet. Strategic thinking is not easy. It causes us to slow down and to lean into asking the right questions, because when we ask the right questions, we can get to the right answers. This worksheet will give you a case study example where we're going to hire someone into the workplace, but we're going to go through our process using our 4-part framework. First, we're going to start with past, then we're going to go to present, then we're going to go to policies and practices, and then we're going to go to progress, okay? All right, you have your sheet. You should have your worksheet to download. Let's pull out that worksheet and work it together. Okay, you have your worksheet and you'll see that there's a scenario. You are hiring a new member of your team. You are short-staffed, and this new position is critical in helping your team regain balance. You must inform the hiring team of the specific needs of your team. What are the strategic questions you need answered to help ensure you hire the employee that best aligns with the needs of your team? Tips. Think about who, what, when, where, and how, and consider what your team is assuming. Okay. So past. Here are some questions you might ask when hiring someone. Who have we hired in the past? What performance factor make an employee successful in this particular role? What do we want to avoid with the next hire? How has the team worked with this person in the past? You might add additional questions. For example, what do we know about our interview process? Is it the right interview process? Have we looked at our questions to ensure that we're asking the right question? You can go on and on to dig and get to more information. Present, primary question. What do we need right now? What hiring resources do we have in place now? What is the time frame for hiring? How long can we handle the gap in the team? Who is doing the work while we look for someone, and what support do they need? How will this person be onboarded? Do we have an onboarding process? What do we need to ask currently? What do we need to ask about our present in order to help us to better prepare for this hire? Policies and practices. Who is involved with the hiring process? What do I want to change about the hiring process? What do I need from human resources? What's the salary range? All types of things you can consider to prepare yourself and be more strategic. Progress. What are the goals? What demographic, if any, would I like to see in this role? Perhaps you have some diversity targets and goals. So you would like to see a diverse slate of candidates. How quickly would I like to fill this role? Is it possible for me to fill that role this quickly? What will happen if we don't? What would I like the new hire to achieve in the next 18 months? These are all questions to help you get to higher levels of strategy. If you start with the questions, then it'll help you to get to the better answers. I don't have the answers to all the questions, and I don't need to have the answers to all the questions. That's not strategy. Strategy is looking for the right questions so that I can get to the best answers to help me get to the best future. And that might not be the same as what happened in the past. Okay. So take the worksheet and work through it. And also think about other situations you may have. A scenario you could think of is a current problem that you're having with your team. Maybe there's a conflict. Okay. Maybe you're short-staffed. I don't know. But start asking yourself, what do we know about the past regarding this problem? What do we need right now? What are the internal organization considerations? And what are my specific goals and as it relates to this particular problem, challenge, or situation? Use this worksheet as a template and slow down before you address any challenge in the workplace. This simple 4-part framework will quickly elevate your strategic thinking. Remember, past, present, policies/practices, and progress.